I'd like to call the meeting to order, please.
I'm going to start from the beginning. The notice of requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting has been satisfied. A copy of the annual meeting notice was sent to the Press of Atlantic City, Star Ledger, posted on the bulletin board and in the municipal building, the municipal website, and filed in the office of the municipal clerk. Please turn off all cell phones.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Collins,
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg,
Here.
Commissioner Horn.
Here.
Welcome, everybody. We will begin with our engineering report. Ed?
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. Starting off, as always, with our dredging projects. Item A, which is our citywide dredging permit. We have completed our updated survey, which I reported at the last meeting. We're now in the process of just updating the plans and getting them ready for submission for our final permit. There's no update on the Shelter Island Salt Marsh Restoration Permit. That is in Stockton's hands, and I believe they're working on the studies. Some of those may be seasonal. 2023 road program. We're finishing up the engineering. We're actually going to be adding in the 600 block of Fredericksburg Avenue to that project, and we discussed that at our last capital meeting. So that is going to be added to the scope of work. This survey for the Washington Avenue streetscape is scheduled for next week. The Adams Avenue pump station, we actually had some activity out there today. They went out there to look at this vault on Adams Avenue, and they actually found that it was completely filled with sand. So they weren't able to go in and do any kind of structural inspection. So I think, Pat, you're going to have the vault cleaned out.
Yep.
And then we'll have our guys come back and take a look inside the vault. So we're looking to see if we can repurpose that vault for this pump station. Thurlow Avenue, 300 and 400 block. The survey's complete, and we're working on the base plans. Redevelopment of Well 9, no update. That's a fall project. Item H is the rebid of our renovation work over at the municipal building. That's out to bid now. The bid opening will be on April 25th. The flood warning response plan, we have a meeting tentatively scheduled for April 25th with city staff just to try to wrap up that document based on the FEMA input. Turning the page, item J at the top of the page is our I-Bank application for the lead service line replacement program, which we have discussed as part of the upcoming capital budget, and we'll be looking at how we want to phase this project based on the funding that's available through DEP. So we will be hearing more about that at the coming meetings as we move into the design and engineering phase for that project. Item K is an alternate traffic signal timing plan that we obtained pricing on. We sent that over for consideration for approval. This would allow the city to put the lights on Atlantic Avenue into an alternate timing pattern during the winter time, so that there would be a longer green time on Atlantic Avenue. So that would be for next off season. Item L is our ongoing compliance with the stormwater regulation program. We've done a couple ordinances so far. There is one I think maybe on for adoption today, and there's one more item that we just need to check off from an ordinance standpoint that I'm working with Roger on, and we'll move forward with that. Soon, we may not need to take any action to be in compliance. Item M is just a running list of our grant applications. I do have one item on this list that I just wanted to discuss with the governing body briefly, which is for the next round of CDBG funding. We've been historically using this funding for the bulkhead cut-throughs on the beach blocks. They changed their program a little bit this year. Typically, for years now, it's been essentially a formula grant. Every participating municipality would get X amount of dollars based on a formula. It's still the same pot of money, but they're now making it a more competitive process where you essentially, almost like other grant applications, where you put in a project and not everyone gets the funds. So the downside is that you're not, quote unquote, guaranteed the money. The upside is you can do a bigger project. So it actually works out timing wise for us, because the street ends that are left are the ones that we kick to the end of the list because they're more complicated. They're concrete seawalls, things like that. We've done all the quote unquote easy ones. So the most natural thing to do would be, I think, be to just roll into a bigger project that would involve one of those more complex street ends, same type of work we've been doing, and maybe this larger pot of money would work in our favor to cover those additional costs. So unless you have another project in mind, that project has always been eligible because it provides ADA compliance and accessibility at the beach street blocks. So
Yeah, I think that makes
is good?
sense.
Okay. All right, then we will move forward with that.
Ed,
Yes.
are we still good with the one we were starting and trying to get done by this summer?
Yep, it should be done by mid-June. We just had our
Mid-June.
pre-construction meeting. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move forward with that grant application as noted. The item N is our list of pending capital projects. Some of these are being considered for the next capital budget, so there will be some movement there as we move into those projects. Jumping down to our construction projects, you can see our open maintenance bond, there's only a couple left for the rest of the year. Our projects in closeout, we continue to chip away at those just to get the paperwork in and reimbursements processed through outside funding agencies. Item R is the 2022 Winchester Avenue project. The utility work is done, the concrete work is done, so the paving work will follow that. So we're moving along on that project. And the next phase of Winchester Avenue from Claremont to Douglas, we are scheduling our pre-construction meeting. That project was just awarded at the end of March, and I think that'll be a fall project, just schedule-wise. But we'll get everything lined up for them to begin early in the fall. And then the last item on my list here, we just talked about it, is the bulkhead cut-throughs at Sumner Avenue and Benson Avenue. We had our pre-construction meeting, I guess it was yesterday, and we're going to get that work scheduled and completed before the peak summer season.
Great.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Ed. We will now move forward with our department head report. Scott?
Mayor, Commissioners, we had several meetings today. Let's go over the one that we've had a citizen most upset about with the Baglivo project at Ventnor and Coolidge Avenue. If you would, I have Mr. Eric Goldstein here. Roger, Jimmy, and I met with the developers of that project, and I think we have a resolution we're trying to make. I know there's a lot of misinformation out there on the internet, and I think if we could, maybe we can get Mr. Goldstein to talk to us for a minute at this workshop session. I think it's appropriate. We'll let everybody know what's going on and how we're straightening out some of these issues.
Sure. Thanks.
Mr. Goldstein, if you would, as per our conversation, he did meet with us and met with the developer. We reviewed all the plans. We'll let him
Thank you,
take
Mr.
over.
Abbott, and thank you for allowing me to show up tonight. I know there's been some dispute between perhaps a neighbor or neighbors and Mr. Baglivo as the developer of the property. Mr. Baglivo, as a responsible corporate citizen, was desirous to meet, wanted to discuss with the neighbor whatever he could do to hopefully alleviate those concerns. I do believe, Mr. Abbott, perhaps I'm wrong, that this is really not a matter for the city. It's more between two private property owners, unless the city feels otherwise. But
Well, there were allegations made that we wanted to address. I said to you I would investigate it, and I have investigated it. I've seen the leases. I've seen the licensing certificates that we have. I met with our zoning officer and our building inspector as well. I've also inspected the property. It's 6 residential units. It's not 12. They are all occupied, correct? They're all
They are.
occupied. The intent of the developer is to condo those. There will be 6 residential condos, and I think he's going to go with what, on the commercial, 5?
5 commercial, although it's
Which are
presently
currently all liquor
occupied
store,
by
but-
the liquor store.
Were approved for 5 separate commercial. The parking spaces, from what I've seen, there is no restriction that prohibits residents from parking in those parking spaces. The developer has represented to me, and I take him at his word, that he's not prohibiting the people from parking in the parking lot. So I think a lot of the fears and a lot of things, and we all see the internet and stuff that goes on. Don't believe everything you read. So as far as I'm concerned, I think we're on the path of having this fully resolved. I don't know, were there some remedial actions you were contemplating, or
No,
perhaps designating
At this
spaces
point,
for parking? or
Mr. Abbott, we've reviewed our approvals. We've gotten approval from City of Margate. One thing that's fairly important as well, I'm sure everyone's aware of this entire project was initiated, started construction, and finished all during COVID. So there was a little bit of a disconnect between what could be inspected, what could have been approved. It was all done, city inspected, city approved, county inspected, county approved. Because remember, Ventnor Avenue is a county road, so we do have an approval of the traffic pattern, the in and out on Ventnor Avenue, as you recall. the county's not real fond of backing out onto Ventnor Ave, so they did have Mr. Baglivo submit a plan which was approved, and property's been built and inspected, construction and zoning, whatever issues exist between a private property owner and Mr. Baglivo. We would like to talk to that individual or individuals, and hopefully that's the end of it. And if it's not, they have recourse, of course, with Mr. Baglivo, but he's never not wanted to address these issues. As you know, we've addressed them several times, but, you know, the internet and people have a little bit of an idea of what is actually going on compared to the true facts, and that's kind of where we are now. I don't know why this has become such a big deal, but we'll deal with it as the city would like us to deal with it, or the private property owners would like to deal with it.
Now, not to put anybody on the spot, but if the gentleman who's been at our last several meetings to complain is here, here's Mr. Goldstein, here I am. Mr. Gittes, he's here. There he is, there he is.
Oh.
Why don't we deal with it now? Let's hear what he has to say.
Nice to meet you too.
Patrick Geddes, I'm at 9706 Ventnor Avenue.
Hi.
I have spoken with people, well, I spoke with one person that actually told me that he has a one-bedroom unit at Steve Baglivo's building. In his lease, he is not allowed to use the parking lot between the hours of 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. My wife heard him. I heard him. If you look at the building, you can see 201A, 201B. I see a gentleman that has the kitchen store. He's got a white pickup truck. He does kitchens and bathrooms. He's got 2 dogs. They're very well trained. He doesn't even have to leash them. He comes out of one of the double doors in the center. It's a B unit. And that's the one he always comes out of, he always goes into. Somebody's not telling the truth. I think I'm telling the truth.
Why don't you go back and look at this? The sign there, I don't know that that's accurate, what you're saying.
What was that?
You're saying there was an A and a B and all.
Yes.
I didn't see those when I was there.
If you look at the doors.
Today I was there. Didn't see any.
Oh, he might have changed it. I didn't look today.
Well,
I got there today. The other thing is, the parking lot is empty. Mona lives right next door. I asked her to check. I thought maybe he might have resolved it. I thought I might be able to save myself.
well, he knows the spotlight's on him, and we've said to him, you gotta let your residents use this parking lot. He said, I'm not restricting them from using them.
But
what he
it's-
told us.
If it's in their lease, they're not.
The leases that from our licensing department, I didn't see that.
Is there names on your leases?
Yeah.
There is names, okay. And it says they're 2-bedroom, 2-bath units?
I don't know that a lease says it's two bedrooms, 2 baths.
Yeah.
Typically, they don't.
Because, well, does it say the square footage of the units?
I don't think it says square
Normally,
footage.
I think they say
But the licensing does. The license certificates does. There's 6 units. That's at least the paperwork we're seeing.
I disagree.
And I'm sure you have good basis to. I'm just telling you from what I can find so far.
Anyone in the last 6 weeks, has anyone gone into any of those units to inspect?
They were inspected initially when the CO for the building was given.
So
Are they
were-
now going into private residences where people live? No.
I guess what I'm asking is, when they were inspected before anyone moved into them. Is that correct? From a CO perspective?
The answer is yes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, since then, when the 6 kitchens had to get ripped out, it was noted in Nanette's article that there were 6 extra stoves and.
I don't think kitchens were ripped out. It was washer and dryers.
No.
Was it
wasn't.
kitchen stove, too?
Okay.
Cooking facility.
Yes, cooking. They were ripped out. Was it re-inspected after they were ripped out, and were the COs given then? Or was it assumed that he was going to take them out, and he just got an unconditional CO? That's what I have a feeling might have happened here.
Do you have an answer?
We took photos of the units after the stoves were taken out.
Can you speak into a microphone, please?
We did inspect the units after the stoves were taken out, and there's photos of the proof.
Yes.
I don't know what else to say to you, sir. We don't have the ability just to run over there and say, let us in, we're going to inspect your unit again tonight.
Has anyone gone to the parking lot and looked at
Yes.
the doors? You've looked at the doors and you don't see any A or B anymore?
They were approved, that's how they were approved initially, with 2 doors to each unit. That is true.
Right. What I'm saying is there's 1 door to each unit on the second and third floor.
As of yesterday and today, the doors have names of the individuals that rent those units. There's no more A and B.
Oh, so he just changed it, okay.
Correct. Now, for instance, the one, I just happened to see it, fellow lives there and his mom lives with him and his son. So most of them are occupied by 1 or 2 people total.
I guess I'm gonna have to get proof. I think he's lying to you. I think he's trying to run this city more than you folks are, unfortunately. You know, he has
You-
that big wad of money, and
I
think
understand, sir, I
that's what's
understand.
happening. I will get you proof if you're not gonna get
I
it
hear you.
yourselves.
Well, listen, I think we are helping ourselves. I
You
think this
haven't
is
inspected the
this is
units for the
a
last,
situation where I understand you parked your car there for years. Now, he doesn't let you park there.
oh, no, I never parked my car.
You never park there, those
Never
cars,
parked
the
my
people in
car
your
there.
building
The lady
who
that
don't have
owned-
any parking
the
at all,
lady that owned
never
that
parked in that
building-
vacant lot?
I've never parked in that vacant lot.
That's not what I'm hearing, but, okay.
That's the truth.
All right.
That's the truth.
That's all we can do at this point.
Okay.
And
All right.
commissioners and
Thank you.
everyone in the room, Mr. Baglivo remains available to discuss this matter. He's not been evasive. He's gone to meetings. He's submitted whatever paperwork needs to be submitted. So the concept of maybe someone saw something somewhere, I get it. And it always takes a little bit more momentum when people put stuff on the internet. But it's when ultimately the city does its inspections. I know, Mr. Abbott, you were there, I was there. The concept of you're potentially doing something wrong, so we want the city to enforce something that private citizens might believe is going one way, which is in fact going another way. I don't know if the city has really any jurisdiction or ability to enforce something based upon a rumor. But Mr. Baglivo remains available to discuss, and I'll certainly make myself available to discuss whatever issues people believe are happening there.
Eric, you said he's going to condo to 12 or 6 residential units, right?
There's going to be a plan prepared for 6 residential and 5 commercial.
And the 6 residential units that are to be condoed, that will be all of the units.
Correct.
Some of them won't be left as apartments, it'll be the whole building.
That's right. Now, they could be rented as apartments
Right.
because they'll have a common ownership, but they will be condoed out, each individual unit having a different qualifier, probably in the next couple weeks. Maybe a month or so. I think Mr. Abbott's correct. They might have to go to DCA.
And just so we're all clear, the 6 residential units each have 2 bedrooms total. That's it.
I think there was one that had 3. There was a bigger, there
I
might be
stand
one
corrected.
unit.
There is one that
Yeah.
has 3. The others all have 2. That's what I have to report so far, and if somebody wanted to say something else.
Yeah, sure.
My name is Marissa Kettis. I live at 2B South
I'm sorry,
Coolidge.
could you speak into the
Sure.
microphone?
My name is Marissa Kettis. I live at 2B South Coolidge Avenue. So when I open up my front door, I face all of the apartments. So I do see a lot of, I guess you would say, just observations. So I just want to clarify. So the top unit and the bottom unit are part of the same unit? Because I see particular residents only coming in and out of, just say, the top unit and never coming in and out of the bottom doors. So are you saying it's the same vertical unit?
I'm not sure what you're referring to. I'm sorry.
So if you're just looking.
They're not
and-
2 levels,
They're not 2 levels.
right, everybody? They're not 2 levels. All the units are 1 level.
So there's how many top level units and how many bottom level units then?
3 and 3.
There's 3 and 3?
Yes.
I'm asking you.
Oh, I don't know. Just
Oh,
the
okay.
word.
I believe that's correct, 3 and 3.
Okay. Okay, because
Three and three.
I was just clarifying, because I've never seen people from, just say, opening a top door.
But there's no stairway or opening, it's not a two-level townhouse.
Okay,
Each floor has 3 approved residential units.
okay, because I know that there was concerns with the A and the B,
I think that's all been eliminated.
nominations. Okay. And obviously, I think it was at the Tequila Sunrise meeting, I brought up the parking situation, how I never saw any tenants parking in that lot before, and how we heard of there were being restrictions. I'm glad if that's not the case, that was able to be, that question being able to be answered, and I'm glad that we're fleshing out some of these issues, because obviously there were a lot going on, and I know that a lot of neighbors just have questions when it comes to the amount of people in there, and as opposed to what was approved. So I'm glad that we're all, addressing this issue and asking questions. And obviously, I know that the construction code officials are empowered to have search warrant issued if they wanted to.
Should have probable cause, though.
Well, I mean, probable cause is,
You can have police going in.
Right, exactly.
So
I'm
we've,
glad
look,
that
we've
fleshing
looked
this
at
out.
it. We'll continue to look at it. We'll continue to monitor it.
Okay.
That we will do. Whatever was going on there in the past, we're told it's 6 units. And the best thing now, if he does condo it, and he sells out 6 separate residential units, that's the best thing that could happen.
Okay, and I also just want to confirm that there's not going to be any commercial up on the second level of where the Margate granite used to be. It's not approved for that?
That I don't
Storage
see.
only,
I'm sorry?
storage only.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Scott, do you want to continue?
That's up to the mayor. I don't know.
Sure, you can come forward.
We got a baseball game, though.
This will be the last one, and then Scott can continue with his report.
Okay, this is just an adjunct thing. I live right next door, and right next door,
I need your name and address, please.
Mona Marcus, 3 South Coolidge Avenue, Margate City, New Jersey. I live right next door, and right next door, I have every day parked the statewide demolition mold specialist clean-out dump truck. Are they allowed to park there?
Sure.
It-
On the street?
No, it's not on the street. It's like what one might think is a driveway. See, there's my house, and there it is.
Oh, that's Mr. Baglivo's truck on Mr. Baglivo's property, yeah.
So he can park over there?
I would defer to law enforcement and the fire chief, but I don't see why not.
There's a barrier in front of it of 2 yellow poles, yeah.
It's private property. That's the whole problem. It is private property.
Right, but the only way he can get in there is to back out. So that was,
Yeah, I haven't seen him go in or out, but it is technically private property, but he should not back out on.
that is the only way that he could get in and get out, is to back out.
Okay. They said we can enforce that.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, Scott,
For
do you
the
want to?
record, Mr. Mayor, my phone number at the office is 927-1177. If anyone has a question, we'll be happy to answer it. Mr. Baglivo has been cooperative from the beginning. It's just perhaps people think he's doing something that he's not. But we're available to meet with Mr. Abbott or the city and come to a meeting and explain what's going on as the solicitor sees fit.
Great. Thank you, Eric.
Sure.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you all.
That's it, Mayor.
All right.
That's what I-
No, nothing further, Scott?
We're going to talk about the beachfront sale, but not here, next session. Okay, no, that's it.
Pat?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. We're just getting ready for the summer season, cleaning up properties, turning the water back on in the buildings, and mulching. We also got the 2 relief cabanas, new ones built for the summer season, and also the big stage is built. And when we were talking about that, the cut-throughs on the beach, we might want to take a look at Decatur Avenue, Ed. Because we had to rip that ramp down last year for the insurance, I think insurance reasons, but we might want to put access through there the correct way.
Great.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Pat. Jim?
I have nothing to report. Scott has reported for me. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Jim. Roger?
Ibid. Planning board meeting next week, and that's pretty much all I have, thank you.
Chief Hankinson?
I'll be brief. As you can see on the agenda, it's the start of the summer resolutions. You'll see the farmers markets on there, something we do every year. It's actually a really good event on Coolidge Avenue. There's also another ordinance
and that's for additional paid parking at 2 areas in Margate. Like I said, it's kind of worked out well. It turns over traffic pretty good, and like I said, it's just a step in that direction. Also, I wanted to take the opportunity that we have another retirement in the police department effective July 1st. Officer Jennifer Pullman will be retiring after 20 years of service, July 1st. Actually, June 30th will be her last day after 20 years, so I wish her well in her future endeavors. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa?
Good afternoon. Just a few things, thank you. To dovetail off of the engineer's report, I spent most of the day compiling and looking for funding as a follow-up to yesterday's capital meeting. There's going to be an ordinance on the May 2nd agenda. Johanna, if you can note that, I would appreciate it, to amend ordinance 12-2023 of last year, whereby we're going to reallocate funds and utilize them for other projects, one of which was the addition of Fredericksburg Avenue to the 2023 road project. The funds that I'm using, because we're not ready to fund the construction of the new DPW facility, there's about 1.2 million in there, so about almost half of it is going for the road project. The remainder of that, there's a couple ways that we can go, depending upon what your preference is, time-wise. It would be enough to cover the funding for the 3 projects at the Segrim complex, the walkway, the restrooms, and the basketball resurfacing. So that's one option to include. Or one other thing that Ed had mentioned yesterday was to begin the engineering on the lead pipe project. So I'm not sure, and I need your direction, which would be needed first. I know the Segrim complex has, been designed for some time now, so I don't know if you prefer to move on that and then fund the engineering. In any event, in addition to the amending ordinance, probably the soonest we would introduce the next capital ordinance would be on May 18th, depending upon when I receive all the cost estimates for what was discussed. So there's a couple things to consider there. So I just need a little bit of direction for that. So if I could have that sooner rather than later, because I'm speaking to bond counsel tomorrow, giving him instruction, and I'm out most of the week next week, which is when I'll need to have everything put together. As you know, our ongoing water meter replacement project, a portion of that was funded with the COVID funds, the local fiscal recovery funds. We received about $613,000 for that. The annual report is due to be filed April 30th. I had Dave in my office begin to prepare that report, and it will be submitted in time. All of the grant funds have been utilized. The remainder is funded from additional sources. The 2023 payroll audit for workers' comp was submitted and complete and verified. I signed off on that the other day. And let me see. Lastly, as you see, there's a resolution on the agenda to terminate participation in the state health benefits plan. So a resolution is required to go on the May 2nd agenda, and it's my understanding the commission prefers to join the Southern Coastal HIF. With that being said, a resolution is required to join the HIF, but another resolution is also needed to appoint a fund commissioner and an alternate fund commissioner. So the commission would need to make a decision as to whom you would like to appoint. In an email, I indicated I'd be willing to become the fund commissioner for the HIF for the mere fact that I've been administering the health insurance for almost 20 years, and I was previously the fund commissioner for the JIF. So I feel like I'm the most familiar to do that, at least in the initial stages. So that's just another decision that will need to be made so that we could prepare the resolution for May 2nd. think I covered everything.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Chief Adams?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. It's actually an honor and a privilege last night. The Margate City Fire Department was the host of the annual Atlantic County Firefighter Association Valor Awards and 50-Year Service Awards. They gave out numerous Valor Awards last night to different recipients of Atlantic County, and there was 7 members of fire departments within Atlantic County that received 50-Year Service Awards. But it's been, we've been hosting that meeting now probably for about 12 or 15 years, and it's just an honor for the fire department to be able to be a part of that. And the Atlantic County Firefighter Association just started its 101st year of being an organization, so it's been around a long time. 2, the fire department is in the process of doing an in-house Firefighter 2 program. What that'll do is it'll get all of our personnel certified to Firefighter 2 level within the Division of Fire Safety in the state of New Jersey. And this will also assist us with certain grant opportunities in the future by having the higher level of training for our people. Lastly, I met today with Brian Mowry of Centurisk. This was for the City of Margate property appraisals through the Atlantic County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund. We visited and documented over 3.5 hours, 80 sites for the City of Margate, so that was a real fun morning for this appraisal. They said that this will be updated within the GIFT in the next 3 months, and it'll be put on the origami, so it'll be all updated and everything should be good. We had a few corrections, buildings that were destroyed or removed, considering the old Public Works storage building, and a couple of sheds that were added that we had to add to the list, but it went very well. Last thing is the beach resolutions. We will prepare that for the May meeting, and that will include the beach season, which includes our barbecue, our Thrilling Thursdays, and I'll work with Chief Hankinson to verify the dates for the start of the beach season where we can enforce beach badges. And then the other will be 2 other resolutions. One will be the opening and closing of protected bathing beaches for the season. And the last is the kayak surfing and catamaran beaches, the designation of the same. So we'll have them prepared for the May 2nd agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Johanna?
I have nothing to report, thank you.
All right, we will now open up to...
Mayor, can I?
Yes.
Lisa just brought my attention. Just so we are all aware, we are working with our insurance carrier for the water main break. We did file an insurance claim for that. It has gone to the process where they're reviewing it as we speak. Based upon the information, I don't want to be overexcited about it, but it sounds like they may be accepting the claim, but I won't know for surety until I get positive feedback. But I wanted to make you guys aware that we did file a claim for the same based on the circumstances and what happened with that break. So that would be a big, inclusion for us to get that money back.
Right.
So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Chief. All right, we will now open up to public comment. If anyone has any comment on anything discussed in this meeting, you may step forward to the microphone, state your name and address. Seeing that there is none, is there a motion? Oh. No. All right, is there a motion to close public comment?
Motion.
Second?
Mayor Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Horn?
Yes.
Anything to add, Commissioner?
Just one thing, I want to take a minute to thank the MBA and all the departments for the great job that they did with the Cherry Blossom Festival. It was, the event was really well attended, the weather cooperated, we got a lot of positive feedback on it, and I know it's a lot of work, so I want to thank everybody that participated and helped to make it a great day. That's all I got.
Commissioner Horn?
I second Maury's comments. It was fabulous. It was nice to see everyone in the community out, and just puts us a little bit closer to summer. It was very nice.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Mayor Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Horn?
Yes.
All right, we will just take a brief 30-second break, and then we will begin.